y'all.
Hello, and welcome to the New Low News Show. Now, we get a lot, or, well, at least a little bit, of praise and admiration for being quote-unquote funny.
We don't tell jokes here.
Now, we try not to.
I mean, the stories are just so ridiculous that they're just kind of like jokes in and of themselves.
Right.
But some of the stories this week are so ridiculous that we can't even even present these as funny. They just kind of suck.
Yeah.
Take like HR 1955. I mean, I don't even know what you got to say about that. Or how about this Finnish high school student who shot up about 8 of his classmates? You know, what's so funny about that? You know, there's nothing funny about that.
Did you say Finnish?
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean,
The American dream is nothing.
this week we're going to be talking about HR 1955, which is the Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act of 2007.
Whoa, hey, cut it, alright, right there, because everybody in Congress does this. They add so many words to their proposal, like, for example, of 2007, like we don't know what year it is, just so nobody will really listen to what they're saying and they can get it passed. Imagine if I stood up in Congress and said, this is to introduce House Resolution 1900, the violent radicalization and homegrown, I slept with your wife, I spanked her ass, she didn't like it that much, and then I lost my heart on Terrorism Prevention Act of 2007. You vote yes on it, you don't even know what I just said.
Well, I would vote yes, even if, I did know what you just said.
Right.
I mean, Congress people are very fast-lipped for the most part. I mean, ask anyone who served under Senator Craig, since the 80s, and they'll tell you what we're talking about here. But see, the problem with this bill is that its wording and purpose is kind of ambiguous to the point where I think they're going to try to do something naughty with it. Okay, one. The primary purpose is to establish a grant program to prevent radicalization, which they define as the use of an extremist belief system for facilitating ideologically based violence.
Ideologically based violence. See, that's the problem here, is violence is already illegal in the United States, in most parts of it anyway, and what does it matter if it's ideologically based? I mean, I could have perpetrated the 9/11 attacks, just because, I like to see people die and buildings falling down is kind of cool, and it is. But it wouldn't make any difference whether I was that or a Muslim, ideologically radical terrorist. It doesn't make any difference at all to the people that died or the government.
Violence is violence, and it should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And the thing is, the bill says that the Department of Homeland Security should not use any of its new privileges, whatever those are, to, in the pursuit of fighting homegrown terrorism, to violate the constitutional and civil liberties of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents. But the thing is, how does this differ from normal police work? If you're trying to prevent violence...
Police?
Yeah, the guys with the funny blue jackets, kind of dicks, like they're all dicks, pretty much. Yeah. What are you doing here, son? Yeah, that sort of thing.
Oh, those dudes that hit me in the head with a flashlight and tasered me?
Yeah, I mean, but in their defense, you were kind of running through a KB Toys, naked.
Well, it was ideological. It was my beliefs. In other news, President George W. Bush and German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who have a questionable working relationship, have decided together that there should be a diplomatic solution to Iran. Now, solution to what, I don't really understand. But it's not just this story. For weeks now, we've been talking about, how we're going to avoid the prospect of war with Iran. And it seems to me that it's just distracting, because we're in a war. Why don't we avoid the one that we said we wanted to end? And why don't we get rid of that president?
It's kind of ridiculous. It's like, and there's a blackout working on multiple layers. Because on one hand, they focus on new presidential candidates when George Bush still has 12 months left in his term. And they're also talking about the war in Iran to cover up with the actual war going on in Iraq. So you have non-presidents talking about a non-war to cover up the actual president who is perpetrating an actually terrible war. Dick move.
The American dream is nothing.
A double scoop of dick move.
The American dream is nothing.
31 flavors of dick move with Jimmy's on top.
The American dream is nothing.
And a cherry.
The American dream is nothing.
Ben and Jerry's chunky dick move.
Get your hands in the air for a special report. Motherfuckers, it's a special report. News from somewhere else.
This past week, there was another school shooting, this time in Finland. They're talking about toughening the gun laws. Now, they do this every time that some sort of massacre like this occurs, and it's kind of ridiculous, because Finland, you could register and own a gun when you were 15. they had the third highest level of gun ownership next to the United States and Yemen. And they didn't have a very high rate of violent crime. However, they're going to toughen the gun laws, and it's just kind of ridiculous to use, the deviation from the norm, a wild massacre, to base everybody's, law and regulation on.
Because most of these massacres are not questions of society. They're questions of individual psychology.
Right.
And really, the important thing to look at is what sort of person breaks like this and does these terrible things. I mean, what are we really looking at here?
Fuck you, fuck him, and fuck her shit too. Fuck you, fuck him, and fuck her shit too.
Which brings us to this week's segment of Argumentum
Ad Hominem.
This week we'll be fucking with gunman Pekka-Eric Avinen,
Fruitgate.
who was the guy that did all those terrible things in Finland we were just talking about. This guy was a prolific poster on YouTube.
Ugh, what a creep. I mean, who spends all their time posting videos on YouTube? You need to get off the computer and get a fucking life.
On his profile, he described himself as a cynical existentialist, an anti-human humanist, anti-social social Darwinist, realistic idealist, and godlike atheist.
Wow, what an intellectual, free-thinking load of shit.
I mean, totally. My brain is just crying after skimming that. It's just torrents of tears and anguish. I mean, how could you... No wonder he shot a bunch of people. If my thoughts were like that, I would have some psychotic sort of violent outburst too. Wow, I'm so mediocre. He continued, I, as a natural selector, will eliminate all who I see unfit, disgraces of the human race, and failures of natural selection.
Good job, Duke Nukem.
I mean, if you're a real man, if you're a real Ubermensch, you know what you'd do? You'd take off all your fucking clothes, go out in the Finnish snow and wrestle a bear to the ground, then dominate it sexually after you're done beating it into submission.
Yeah.
Then you'd be the big man on campus. You think you're a big man now? Well, you're dead. But
Did you think you were a big man? I could do what you did. Anyone could do what you did. You fired into a crowd of unarmed people. I could go to Walmart and get a rifle and pull that cosmic dick move. I mean, my aim is decent. I played Duck Hunt before. Hey, speaking of Duck Hunt...
Don't respect this, don't respect me, you won't respect this. Don't respect this, bitch, eat my dick.
On this week's edition of Argumentum,
Ad hominem.
we're gonna be fucking with people who think it's cool to wear, cool, funny, relevant t-shirts.
Newsflash. Nothing is cool or funny.
Especially all this nerdy shit. It's really cool to be uncool now. So you have something like a Nintendo controller and it says, Roots or something gay like that.
Are you into some retro video game like Pong or Mario Kart or Donkey Kong or some bullshit like that? Holy shit, Duck Hunt?
Yeah, dude, I used to play that all the time. NES, man.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude!
Yeah.
You wanna make out?
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. That is ridiculously fucking dorky. And this is coming from someone who has dungeon mastered for 8 years in a live-action tabletop role-playing game. I think I'm speaking from authority here.
Whoa, dude, do you play D&D?
Nah.
Oh. Wanna make out?
Okay.
What's worst of all is dudes who wear, really, vague sexual references targeted towards chicks who obviously want to get down with them. Shit happens when you party naked.
I mean, honestly, what kind of ugly chick is gonna want to get with you if you're wearing a stupid fucking t-shirt?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I know.
I love a guy in a funny t-shirt.
What can I say?
Want to make out?
Why not?
If there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's keep your feelings to your fucking self.
Damn straight.
Why do we need t-shirts advertising? I mean, I could have a t-shirt that said, I'm sad inside all the time, but nobody wants to hear that shit. But for some reason, people who are in a better mood than me always feel the need to advertise how they're feeling. They might as well just be like, I'm fun and relevant and hang out with me, please, look at me, look.
I'm happy, energetic, bubbly, I'm on the up and up!
Whoa, I can afford a $23 t-shirt at Spencer's Gifts.
I'm fucking cool as shit!
I probably have novelty shit in my pocket.
Yeah!
Beast of the
Week.
Normally on Beast of the Week, we just give you one guy who's dead and has just proven himself, but this week we're going to give you 4 people. It's kind of a response to people talking about how modern music has really gone downhill or it really sucks.
Yeah, that's just not true.
So we're just going to give you 4 relatively popular artists that are still making quality music today and have done so in the past. The first is the RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan. He revolutionized hip-hop music production through the group works and also the solo efforts related to the band. He's gone on to make scores for movies like Kill Bill, Ghost Dog Way, The Samurai. He's even popped up in a couple movies himself. Either way, he's just all over the place.
The next would be Serj Tankian, who is the front leading vocalist in System of a Down. Amazing voice, amazing range and dynamics. He just released a solo album after System of a Down went on hiatus, but they're still together.
Other than that, there's Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. He's been around since '89, producing music to this day, still produces quality albums, and does really great live shows. He's producing his next album with no record label support because I guess he thinks they're a bunch of dicks, because they are.
Yeah. And the next would be Joshua Homme, who is the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age and main guitarist. He, Rolling Stone said that he brought back guitar rock. He pioneered what's called desert rock, and he's just an all-around badass.
So check these guys out, and hopefully we'll get as much listening enjoyment out of them as we have over the past couple of years. Certified Beasts.
Alright, y'all.